Happening today, former President Trump's historic New York hush money trial begins with jury selection, making him the first ever former president to stand for a criminal trial.
That is a big deal. Brooke Singman is here with all the details this morning. Hi, Brooke.
Hi, guys. Yeah, it is. The jury selection process could take up to 2 weeks. Now, potential jurors will be asked 42 total questions, including which cable, print, and social media platforms they get their news from. They will also be asked if they have ever attended a Trump campaign event, if they follow him on social media, and if they have ever attended anti-Trump rallies. Judge Merchan, who is overseeing the case, says there are no questions asking prospective jurors who they voted for or who they intend to vote for or whom they have made political contributions to. Now, the former president is facing 34 felony counts of falsifying business records. Those charges are related to an alleged cover-up of a hush money payment to adult film actress Stormy Daniels ahead of the 2016 election. Now, on its own, this alleged crime is a misdemeanor, and the statute of limitations has already run out. So Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg must prove that Trump intended to commit a separate crime in order to secure this felony conviction. Now, the former president's lawyer says the facts are on Trump's side. Listen.
One of the craziest things about this case is the fact that what we're dealing with here are misdemeanor offenses that through this weird legal alchemical process, Alvin Bragg has attempted to convert into felony offenses. I truly believe that truth is on President Trump's side, and there's nothing that any of these witnesses or anything the New York DA can do to change that basic fact.
Trump is expected to attend this full trial. He says, quote, "I will be fighting for myself, but much more importantly, will be fighting for our country. Election interference like this has never happened in the USA before and hopefully will never happen again." Now, this is just one of Trump's 4 criminal cases. His others include the classified documents case, the federal election interference case, and the Georgia election interference case. This hush money trial is expected to last through June, and if convicted, he could face up to 4 years in prison.
Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Today is Monday, April 15th, 2024. It's tax day. And what is your federal government doing with your tax money? It's trying to put your president in prison. Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump is in court for the first criminal trial of any president in our history. We have a stacked show with Jim Jordan and Donald Trump's attorney, Alina Habba, joining us live. Alina Habba will be able to tell us all of the happenings inside of the courtroom. As of right now, Donald Trump is in court right now, and, whoa, elections have consequences. Israel had 350 different missiles fired at them this weekend from Iran. We will talk all about it and the failures of Joe Biden. This is why Joe Biden must try and put his political opponents in prison, and that is precisely what is happening here. We are going to deconstruct everything. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. Even though it is breaking news environment right now, and we are working very, very hard to stay up with that breaking news environment, it's important to take a breath and remember why we do all of this. My children, or my motivation, I wish to leave a country to my children. I think it's actually a very noble motivation. My motivation is to leave a nice country for my children. I think it is a cursed generation that actually leaves a horrible, wretched, broken place for their kids. And so that's my motivation. This is my 2-year-old. Her name's Juliet, and we had her birthday this weekend. She is 2. I have 3 kids. Ladies and gentlemen, as a father of 3 kids, it is hard to find time to sleep. In fact, for Juliet's birthday, she needed to crawl in bed with mom and dad. We took her to the pool. We had a very, very long, we took her to our local pool. We had a very tiring pool day, let's just say. And so that makes a funny sleep schedule for the kids. We are up and down all night. That's just the way it works. If you have kids, you know. And that is why I use Beam Dream powder to fall asleep and to stay asleep. Beam Dream has been my go-to for its clinical attributes that show that it improves your sleep and helps you fall asleep faster. Unlike other sleep aids, you wake up without grogginess. I really hate the kind of NyQuil sort of stuff, right? You can't do the show in the morning, right? You're groggy and you're sleepy. No, not for me, ladies and gentlemen. Also, stop drinking. I don't like hangovers. You can't do the show with a hangover either. So it's like all of these things, all of these reasons, and all the energy to fight the communists. You have to be able to sleep correctly. Today, my listeners can get 35% off. Shopbeam.com/Benny. You can scan the QR code on the screen, enter the code Benny, and grab some of the best-selling flavors like sea salt caramel and chocolate peanut butter. Shopbeam.com/Benny. Enter promo code Benny today. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Donald Trump braces for historic first criminal trial. Now, all of these other little nuisance trials, right, that I believe will be overturned have been civil cases. These are civil. This is a criminal trial, and I want to really set the table today. Donald Trump is in court right now. We only have a single photograph of Donald Trump in court. Let's pop it up. You can see where Donald Trump is sitting. Donald Trump will be attending this entire trial today, and he will be attending the entire trial throughout the course of the trial, and that is ultimately actually a major problem for a man who's running for president, right? Like, running for president is a very tough job, and you have to be able to get out on the campaign trail. Here's Donald Trump right now, currently. We do not have a live shot of Donald Trump. We will, during this breaking news show, cut immediately to when Donald Trump may or may not be speaking live at the court, right? We actually have Donald Trump's statements live at the court he just said seconds ago, and I think we should just play them right now. Donald Trump was walking out in front of the court. He gets only these, like, I don't think he was even supposed to do this. He had to walk through multiple security barriers to get to say that America is under assault right now. This is Donald Trump leaving for the court at 9 a.m. this morning. And then Donald Trump, again, the sort of victorious fist pump or wave. And then Donald Trump, when at the court, there he is, popping. You see him popping up there. A legend, man. It's really hard to hate the guy. But these people do hate him. And Stalin would, quite frankly, blush at their attempts to put Donald Trump in prison. Donald Trump defiant at the court seconds ago, speaking, saying America is under assault, that he is standing in the way of the evil machine that wishes to grind all of us to powder. Take it away, Mr. President.
Walking into the courtroom.
Is that common,
here.
Andy? Yeah.
Huh. Here's President Trump as he walks in. Let's just see if we get a comment.
Trump, you were about to jail time. Are you ready to lose voters if there's conviction?
This is an assault on America. Nothing like this has ever happened before. There's never been anything like it. Every legal scholar said this case is nonsense. It should never have been brought. It doesn't deserve anything like this. There is no case, and they've said it. People that don't necessarily follow or like Donald Trump said this is an outrage that this case was brought. This is political persecution. This is a persecution like never before. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And again, it's a case that should have never been brought. It's an assault on America. And that's why I'm very proud to be here. This is an assault on our country. And it's a country that's failing. It's a country that's run by an incompetent man who's very much involved in this case. This is really an attack on a political opponent. That's all it is. So I'm very honored to be here. Thank you very much.
Nothing like this has ever been brought. Called it an outrage, and the truth is, a case like this has never been brought before. Not just for what you guys were talking about, but also the fact that this is a former president now being tried on a criminal matter.
So there have been many legal scholars that have said that this is an atrocious abuse of the system, and we have actually all of it detailed for you here. We are not lawyers. We bring on lawyers. We'll be bringing on Trump's lawyer here very soon, Alina Habba, to talk about this. We bring on people who have exceptional understanding of the political and legal ecosystems, like the Judiciary Chairman, Jim Jordan, who will be joining our program in just a moment. And so those are the people who we depend upon for our legal theory and for our true understanding of the teeth of the law. But even somebody like me, right, who is an observer of this process, gasps when I read what they've done to Donald Trump here. Let's remember what's going on in this trial. And this is very, very important. Alvin Bragg is a far-left George Soros-funded prosecutor who campaigned on putting Trump in prison by all means necessary. Alvin Bragg is bootstrapping. This is a legal term for when you are attempting to effectively rig charges in order to hurt somebody. A common misdemeanor, which is like an accounting digit in your books, right? An accounting digit in your business books, into a felony because the statute of limitations already ran out of the misdemeanor. So they already lost their statute of limitations. They have to charge it as a felony in order to try and make a case. To do that, Bragg is using Article 175, Section 10 of New York penal law. That requires Bragg to prove that Donald Trump is not guilty of the thing that already passed, the little booking clerical error, as they say, but that Donald Trump was doing this in order to cover up a larger, broader, second crime. Okay? Donald Trump was trying to hide something very, very mysterious, murky, and dangerous here. Could it finally be the payments from the Russians? Well, ladies and gentlemen, the interesting thing about all this is that Alvin Bragg has yet to tell us what Donald Trump was covering up. This is a huge issue for Alvin Bragg. Nobody knows what second crime there actually is. So in order to be able to charge Section 175, Article 175, Section 10 of New York penal law, you're going to have to try and prove that Donald Trump is doing some type of like deeply diabolical, smoke and mirrors, master, evil villain cover-up. They've never even insinuated what that second crime would be. The DOJ, of course, under Joe Biden, which has been criminalized into a Red Scare, Stalin-level, persecute and prosecute anyone who stands in their political way. And if they could put Donald Trump in prison for the rest of his life, they are trying to do it right now, they would. Thank God they're being stopped regularly at multiple intervals by very inconvenient things like a constitution. But nonetheless, the DOJ looked at this case. Okay? These people are frothing at the mouth, demonic Trump haters. And what they do? They passed. They said there is no case here. This is a absurdity. By the way, what they're trying to charge here is a campaign finance violation. They're trying to say that the nuisance claim that Donald Trump paid off, and let's talk about Stormy Daniels for a second. Stormy Daniels said in a signed statement that an affair never happened between her and Donald Trump. We actually have the signed statement. If you'd like to see it for yourself, you're welcome to actually Google it, just like we did. Stormy Daniels, in a signed statement, says, to whom it may concern, over the past few weeks, I've been asked countless times to comment on the reports on the alleged sexual relationship with Donald Trump many years ago. The fact of the matter is that each party of the alleged affair denied its existence in 2016, 2011, 2017, and now again in 2018. I'm not denying this affair because of hush money, as has been reported by overseas tabloids. I am denying it because it never happened. I will no longer further comment on this matter. Please feel free to check me out on Instagram. Okay. That is Stormy Daniels' statement as of January 30, 2018. Year of our Lord. Signed by Stormy Daniels. Are we supposed to believe all women here? Like what? Let's follow the rules, right? Okay. This is something very common in the entertainment world and in the world of the powerful, a nuisance lawsuit. I don't know what happened. I know the lady said it never happened. I know Trump said it never happened. But either way, there's something called a nuisance lawsuit, and this happens day and night, anywhere. If you're in Hollywood, if you're in Nashville, if you're a big music star, if you're an actor, you ding someone's car, right? They sue you $50 million. Oh, wow, you scraped the car, but I hurt my neck, right? Tom Cruise gets out of his car, dings your door. You know, you're a bad actor. You pay him. He pays you to go away, right? Right? He pays you to go away. Somebody somebody pushes their shopping cart into your leg or whatever. I don't know. Shopping at Whole Foods. It's a nuisance lawsuit. People file these day and night against super rich or famous or powerful people because those people, even though they might have the money to fight it, they would want this stuff to go away. This has, based on all of my research and all of our interviews that we have done, and we've done hundreds of hours of interviews on this, this is on its face a nuisance lawsuit where somebody was paid to just go away. And that means then it's over. The matter's over. Here's some cash. Get out of my life. It happens to every celebrity. Donald Trump is the most famous man on earth right now. That is inarguable. Donald Trump is more famous than Elvis, more famous than the Beatles. So you don't think he'd have like dozens of nuisance lawsuits? So that's what's actually like underpinning this case. And let's continue, ladies and gentlemen, into the absurdity of all of this. So they're saying that Donald Trump's payment, nuisance payment to Stormy Daniels, is a campaign finance violation. Got it? So presumably the feds who oversee campaign finance, right? The SEC, all these people report the DOJ. You can't like take a bunch of money. Like he can't be Fannie Willis, right? Fannie Willis on the stand admitted to campaign finance violations. Fannie Willis on the stand said, I just took my campaign cash and I went and bought cruises with it. That's a big no-no. You'll go to jail for that. Don't do that. Campaign finance rules are really airtight, okay? Cannot squander or waste or misappropriate campaign dollars or federal dollars. Here's what's crazy. The feds, whose job it is to enforce campaign finance, didn't enforce it. They said there's no case here. This is not a case. The end. The former district attorney for New York, his name's Cy Vance. This guy's also a rabid left-wing Democrat who hates Donald Trump. And this guy said there's no case. They had to literally wheel in dumbass Alvin Bragg, drooling moron, to say like, oh yeah, we're going to charge case. Then the Biden Department of Justice had to install essentially a commissar on his team. Let's find the name of that guy. I'm going to get the name of that guy. What's the commissar that the DOJ installed on Alvin Bragg's team in order to like walk them through this, right? In order to like pin the pieces together of this insane charge. We're just doing our homework here, all right? To show you how absurd all of this is. They've never been able to prove an underlying crime. They've never been able to explain like why the feds passed on this, why the other DA passed on this, why everyone is saying there is no crime here, including Stormy Daniels. You think that would be pretty germane? And then the star witness is a convicted perjurer whose name is Michael Cohen, who's been able to tip, tap, and trot around on corporate press talking about how bad of a guy Donald Trump is while Donald Trump is gagged. And who gagged Donald Trump? Here's where it gets even better. Juan Merchan. Judge Juan Merchan donated to Joe Biden. Judge Juan Merchan's daughter's avatar on X is Donald Trump in a prison cell. This is Judge Juan Merchan's daughter. Her name's Lauren. Lauren happens to be a partner in a big-time boutique Democrat fundraising firm that makes untold millions off of fundraising against Donald Trump. Now, people who do this on both sides, I'm not saying that in and of itself is criminal. There are plenty of people who fundraise for Republicans. There are people who Donald Trump just raised $50 million in one night. But this judge's daughter worked for Kamala Harris. The judge donated to Donald Trump's political opponent, Joe Biden. And the daughter literally makes a living, a fortune actually, makes a fortune fundraising off of putting Trump in prison. So you think this judge might be, I don't know, compromised? This is beyond insane. This is what they got. And the final thing that they've done is they've put a gag on Donald Trump saying Donald Trump can't speak about this. Donald Trump's not allowed to talk about it. Does this sound like a free country to you? Does this feel like a free country anymore? Jack Posobiec this morning said the USA SSR, something like that. It's the Soviets. I mean, this is Soviet tactics. Show me the man, I'll show you the crime, is Joseph Stalin's Red Purge. And the court effectively just is designed, all the judges, all the prosecutors, all the evidence is manufactured. All the judges are in Stalin's pocket. They're too scared of him. And they're all designed in order to do one single thing. Put Joseph Stalin's political opponents in prison and then put just random Russian citizens in prison. Send them to the gulags for the rest of their lives. For what? Well, for a practice in fear and for a practice in totalitarian power exercises. It's utterly barbaric. It's sick. Welcome to the USSA. There we go. All right. President Trump is being put on a communist show trial today in the city that he helped construct. That's true. The New York skyline is forever changed for the better because of Donald Trump. The builders of civilization persecuted by the haters of it. Welcome to the USSA. That might stick, ladies and gentlemen. The USSA. An important other final little data piece here. Alvin Bragg, man who is bringing these charges, very similar to Fani Willis in the sense that Fani Willis is overseeing a blood-soaked hellscape in Fulton County. Fulton County is like the murder capital of America. It is in the top 1% of the least safe places to live for any American. Fulton County is a third world country. And Fani Willis is the prosecutor who is spending an enormous amount of resources and time going after Donald Trump when she should be solving murders. What is more important? If you need any further evidence that these people are criminal apparatchiks, let's check in on some data from Alvin Bragg. In 2022, Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg reduces 52% of all felony charges to a misdemeanor. In 2023, he elevated a misdemeanor to a felony charge that both the DOJ and his predecessor refused to go after, so he could indict the Republican nominee for president. Today, Donald Trump will be in court for this misdemeanor because America is currently making Putin's Russia look like a free country. Man. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a really important moment. They've stopped Donald Trump from being able to speak. His campaign has put out an advertisement, an ad cut this morning with actually footage from this morning. And it's, I think, really powerful. While Donald Trump may not be able to speak, his campaign certainly can. Here we go.
They want to take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedom. It's very simple. They want to silence me because I will never let them silence you. They want you silent. And I am the only one that can save this nation because you know they're not coming after me, they're coming after you, and I just happen to be standing in their way, and I will never be moving. On November 5th, 2024, justice will be done. We will take back our country and we will make America great again. Thank you. God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you very much. Great job.
Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump just appeared in the live feed for 1 second. For 1 second at the court. This is the best that we have right now. We'll pop it on screen for you in case Donald Trump comes out to make further statements. Here we are. You can see the police milling about, the press milling about. Secret Service and Donald Trump made just a flash of an appearance here at the court. We, of course, are here to bring you all of the news live. And we will be doing our, obviously, very best, which we fancy ourselves as the fastest team on the internet in moments like this, if Donald Trump comes out to speak. Obviously, there are some people milling about, some of the police officers chatting and laughing, and so perhaps he will not be making further comments right now. Of course, we are monitoring this, and we'll cut directly back if we get any indication that Donald Trump will be speaking. Now, Donald Trump is speaking through ads. Trump supporters are also speaking outside of the courtroom. Here's what the outside of the courtroom looks like in Manhattan. You can see Trump supporters wall to wall. And also one of our favorite things that you see is a giant MAGA truck rolling down the street in front of the courthouse with a giant train horn. Yeah, you wonder why they hate this man. You ever seen a Biden truck? You ever seen a Obama truck? You ever seen anyone who's actually beloved by the people of this country more than Donald Trump? Donald Trump will be facing off against the star witness in all of this, convicted perjurer, serial liar, man who's been completely broken by the machine, Donald Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen. Donald Trump plans to testify. Trump said that he will be taking the stand. Now, again, we really hope that they allow cameras in the courtroom. We have our live shot up, but this is the best that we have right now. This is all that the press is allowed right now in the courtroom. So you can see here, this is happening live right now. Again, Donald Trump just walked back for a split second, was on camera with his Secret Service detail, and is now presumably taking a rest. They are doing jury selection right now. So this is going to be, of course, critical, the jury selection process in this trial. Will they get a fair jury? No way. Not in New York. Trump plans to testify, so get ready. Things are about to get insane.
You plan to testify in your trial in New York?
Yeah, I would testify, absolutely. It's a scam. It's a scam. That's not a trial. That's not a trial. That's a scam.
Will Donald Trump throw a rally in New York during this case? I would highly encourage him to. I have told the team that if Donald Trump does a rally in Madison Square Garden or in the Bronx or in AOC's district, some people are saying maybe AOC's district. We've been to AOC's district. We've gone there and talked to people on the street. Man, they really don't like AOC. Don't know how she gets elected. They really don't like AOC. We're going to go. We're going to book the first ticket. We're booking the first ticket out. And so we hope that happens. Donald Trump is saying that he may be hosting a rally in New York in order to rally support to himself in a state that some people say Donald Trump could win. I don't know. I've seen some interesting math on New York, but New York is in a bad way, man. And I don't understand why you'd vote for Joe Biden. I don't understand. You have to be suicidal. It must be suicide. You must be suicidal, culturally, like morally, to vote for Joe Biden and the policies that this administration is pushing. Is making the world a much less safe place. Donald Trump, will you throw a rally in New York? Yes, please do it.
What they're doing, their legal system is shot. It's a joke all over the world. But when I walk into that courtroom, I know I will have the love of 200 million Americans behind me, and I will be fighting for the... That's right. That's right. And I will be fighting for the freedom of 325 million Americans.
So, ladies and gentlemen, again, Donald Trump just walked by. We're going to do our best. I mean, we're here for the live show. I mean, we do 8-10-hour lives during breaking news moments like this. But this is a tough one because unlike the Fani Willis trial, where there's actually cameras, they're like, oh, there he is. There's Donald Trump walking by. And that's sort of what you see here, right? You see like kind of like just a flash, right, of Donald Trump walking through and his Secret Service following behind along with his legal team there. And so you see these little flashes. There's Jason Miller with the president, the top advisor for the campaign. And these are sort of like what we've been seeing, right? Trump going in, Trump going out, making no further statements. We've played you the only statement that Donald Trump made today. Was approximately 60 seconds long. And so, again, we have our team locked and loaded and ready to go. Caroline Leavitt, friend of the show, the campaign spokesperson for Donald Trump, who's been on our program a lot, saying, of course, this is a travesty of justice.
What is taking place in this city this week is a travesty of justice. It's an unprecedented time in which we have the sitting president of the United States and Joe Biden weaponizing the justice system against his political opponent. This is what happens in third world banana republics, not here in the United States of America. And this case is a Biden trial at the behest of a far left district attorney in Alvin Bragg, who has spent more time prosecuting President Trump than the violent criminals who are running free in the streets of New York right now. And the case is being overseen by a partisan judge. Judge Merchan is a partisan Democrat. He has donated money to Joe Biden's campaign. How can you honestly oversee a trial against a presidential candidate when you yourself support that candidate's opposition? It is election interference, and the American people see that. President Trump will continue to fight for truth. Now, they don't want him to do that. They're politically persecuting him, and then they're also gagging him. They want to take away his First Amendment right because they know he exposes the truth about the corruption and the corrupt actors who are leading this case, and it starts with Joe Biden.
So this is absolutely correct tactic to flip this on Joe Biden. The entire trial itself is just a travesty. We've detailed this. Again, we don't claim to be some type of exceptional legal mind here or theorist, but on its face, what they've done to bootstrap this thing and the number of people that passed on this until they got somebody dumb enough and low IQ enough, Alvin Bragg, to create this novel legal theory to go after Donald Trump. And by the way, they're only pushing this after everything else fell to pieces. Jack Smith's cases have all fallen to pieces. They really thought Big Fanny in Fulton County would be able to get a crack. Sounds like that is, well, ladies and gentlemen, going to go very poorly. We'll see what happens next with Big Fanny. We're going to talk to Jim Jordan here in just a moment, who is currently doing a full-scale investigation into Big Fanny. Don't look too hard, ladies and gentlemen. Donald Trump saying that the legal scholars of the day have said that this is an insane charge and that this has never happened before in American political history. And the legal scholars are, well, saying the exact same thing. Here's Jonathan Turley.
Can Donald Trump get a fair jury in New York?
Well, it's going to be a challenging jury. It's easier to find a stray manatee in Manhattan than someone who's an actual Trump supporter. This is one of the most hostile jurisdictions to Trump, and that's going to be reflected in the jury pool. They're not going to be asked about their political leanings, so he can assume that he's going to have a motivated judge and a fairly hostile jury. And that's one of the things that I think Alvin Bragg is counting on. This is an absurd case, and he's counting on the fact that the jury may not demand a lot once they see who's sitting behind the defense table.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. The jury won't demand to see any evidence. They'll just convict because they see Donald Trump, and they're very, very excited for the opportunity to put Donald Trump in jail, just like Judge Merchan's daughter. Truly remarkable. Here's the letter. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we'll play this. Again, we'll show this again and again and again. Here's the letter of Stormy Daniels saying none of this ever happened. It was a nuisance lawsuit, and I was just trying to milk over a rich guy for a nuisance lawsuit. Signed, Stormy Daniels. This is real. It is authentic. So what the hell's going on here? Yeah, we know exactly what's going on here. Jonathan Turley explaining.
You're telling us, I'm going to put up this letter. This is from Stormy Daniels that President Trump posted. I know you've seen this. It says, Stormy Daniels writes, the fact of the matter is that each party to this alleged affair denied its existence in 2006, 2011, 2016, 2017, and now again in 2018. I'm not denying this affair because I was paid hush money. I'm denying the affair because it never happened, writes Stormy Daniels. Sir.
Yeah, everything about this case is, in my view, legally absurd. You know, this case is basically a state misdemeanor that had run out on the statute of limitations. And Bragg was forced, after he declined for a long time to bring this charge, to do so. His predecessor rejected it. And so they took a dead misdemeanor and bootstrapped it into effectively trying a federal crime. But the federal crime here under election law was rejected by the Department of Justice. They didn't feel that this should be charged. So you have this crazy case that's going to go forward, and it's going to turn on the testimony of people like Michael Cohen. And Michael Cohen just recently had a judge call him a serial perjurer. Wow. And he's going to appear as the center of this case.
So how rigged is everything? How broken is everything, ladies and gentlemen? Well, apparently they're not even going to be able to ask the jury in this trial who they plan on voting for, which would, you'd assume, be kind of a ringer here. Like, if you hate Donald Trump and you voted for Joe Biden, well, wouldn't you like that opportunity to get rid of Joe Biden's only political opponent right now? So goes the structure of a two-party system. Maybe we should rethink the two-party system in America. That would be actually kind of awesome. But nonetheless, wouldn't you take that vote? Like, who the hell cares? We covered last week exactly how the jurors in the OJ trial, for instance, they straight up admit OJ did it. So the jurors, they're old, right? They're decrepit. They're coming clean. OJ's dead. And they're on TV being like, we knew OJ did the murder. Obviously, all the evidence showed that OJ did the murder. The data in the binary data, the DNA evidence shows that it was OJ who murdered his wife. Yet, we decided to acquit him because, F you, right? Because racism or something, right? Because we didn't like police action against Rodney King. And so we've already seen exactly how distorted and corrupted jury pools can be. And I'm sorry, but this Trump thing, based on the amount of broke brains that you have on the left-leaning side of the country, these people have had their skulls, need to have their skulls examined. They've been completely psyoped. They've completely had their brains snapped and broken from years now of ceaseless, nonstop propaganda. And there is no way that Donald Trump's going to get a fair trial. There just isn't. There just isn't. You get one lib on this jury, and it's over. You're going to have a broken process here, and I really listen. There is no way it's going to be a fair trial. Here's what Donald Trump is asking in the jury selection.
Ellie, how unusual is this sort of request to amend jury questions on the eve of the start of this historic trial? First time in American history a former president will face criminal charges in a trial. How do you think the judge is likely to respond?
Well, Donald Trump has made a series of unreasonable motions that have failed throughout this week, but this particular request is completely reasonable and I think fair, and it wouldn't even surprise me if the DA agrees. So here's what the judge said he's going to do. He said he's going to start jury selection by saying, is there anyone here who cannot serve either because of hardship, meaning you have a job that prevents you, or some other impediment, or because you have such strong bias you can't sit on this case? And all that Trump has said he wants the judge to do is separate those into two different questions so that if and when he needs to appeal, he'll be able to say, look how many people we lost out of our jury pool because of bias. That will take essentially zero extra time. It actually will make for a clearer record here. And I think it makes sense for the judge to do it. I think it's a perfectly reasonable and rational request by Trump's team.
Important.
My God, put a pin in it. For the first time in human history, you have CNN's legal scholar being like, Donald Trump's being reasonable here. And actually, this machine that is sinking its teeth into whatever's left of the judicial system and an impartial judicial system is, well, being unreasonable. I got to tell you, it was totally unreasonable. And it's a final thing. You've got to see this. The judge in this trial and it's really worth, there's a lot of receipts you can't show, right? There's a lot of stuff you can't just put up on screen as far as data. This is actual data. Democrat clients of daughter, New York judge in this trial, raised $93 million off the case. Boy, I wonder where the motivation is to put Donald Trump in prison. You can actually see the client list. You can see the client list. Adam Schiff, the people who pushed every single collusion narrative, every single hoax against Donald Trump, you can go through where Julie Kelly has it broken down. Put up the breakdown. I want you to see. Adam Schiff was paying the judge's daughter $1 million a month. Some months. Hundreds of thousands of dollars per month. If this isn't a conflict of interest, I don't know what is. Is justice dead in America? Well, ladies and gentlemen, there would be only a single person that we would want to have on the program to actually expound on that topic. And that, of course, would be the chairman of the Judiciary Committee in the House of Representatives, the great Jim Jordan, joins us now. Mr. Chairman, a dark day for the judiciary in America. Your take.
No, I mean, Benny, there's no conflict there. Only just hundreds of thousands of dollars a month to the judge's daughter. I mean, from Democrats, important Democrats in the Congress, the same Democrats who went after President Trump for the last, 7 years. And of course, President Trump, he shouldn't be allowed to comment on this. The guy, I mean, all of this is just ridiculous. But again, it's part of this long escalation is a term I use because I don't know how else to describe it, of what the left, what the Democrats have done, the lawfare they've used against President Trump. Remember, they spied on his campaign in 2015. Then it was the Mueller investigation, $30 million, 19 lawyers, 40 FBI agents, found nothing. Then it was impeachment. Then it was they raided his home. Then they named Jack Smith special counsel. Jack Smith indicts in Miami and D.C. And of course, you got Fonnie Willis in D.C. and Alvin Bragg, the case today up in New York, with this ridiculous case based on, I think, just some total faulty premises. So, I mean, they're trying to turn out what maybe what someone have said is a misdemeanor, maybe. I mean, we don't even know if that's the case, but they're trying to make that a felony. And then, of course, their star witness is going to be Michael Cohen.
Yeah. So this is quite fascinating if you actually look at the theory of these charges saying that they're going to interfere in an election. And they did this with Hillary Clinton. Of course, you remember you were one of the people going after Hillary Clinton for all of these years. Benghazi, you can rewind the clock back. But you have this James Comey rule. It's like, whoa, we're not gonna criminally charge candidates who are running for president. That's going to interfere in an election. And we heard about that non-stop in 2016. I mean, non-stop. They did everything. They worked like animals to stop Hillary Clinton from being charged. And I'm sure you know so much more than we do because you actually were in the room when that was happening. What's the difference here?
No, the big difference is that it's President Trump. He's a Republican, he's a conservative, and the left wants to get him. But take it into just the other kind of you're right. Just look at the classified documents. You got three presidential candidates the last three cycles. You got Clinton, you got Biden, and you have President Trump. Only three individuals on the final ballot have run for president. All three had concerns raised about how they treated and handled classified information, but only one's getting prosecuted, for goodness sake. I mean, look at the Biden. We know the Hillary situation, unsecure server, 30,000 emails destroyed, on and on it goes. But with Joe Biden, Robert Hur just told us a month ago that Joe Biden kept classified information, shared classified information. He told us what the motive was. He said Joe Biden had strong motivations to not follow classified procedures because he was writing a book for which he got paid $8 million. So we have motive, we have the elements of the crime being met, but they don't charge Joe Biden because he's a forgetful old man. Only one who gets charged is President Trump, who, by the way, was the only one who was ever president, who has, where you have the ultimate authority on determining what's classified and what isn't. So, yeah, it just shows this double standard, this lawfare attack against President Trump that, as I said before, continues to escalate. And I will say this, Benny, what's coming next? Because I don't think this case and any of the other cases are going to be the end-all, be-all that the Democrats thought. So what are they going to do next? What's going to be the October surprise in 2024? I don't know, but I know one thing: they always seem to take it to a next level.
Yeah, I mean, this seems pretty remarkable. Over 50% of the cases, criminal cases that are felonies in New York, get brought down to a misdemeanor by Alvin Bragg. Yet here he is manipulating, bootstrapping, and accelerating, corkscrewing up a misdemeanor, as some say, but not proven, to a felony in order to get Donald Trump based on a letter Stormy Daniels signed saying that that this never happened, that this was a nuisance lawsuit. And I fail to see, I fail to see how anybody, and I suppose this is a question for you, since you're in charge of the judiciary, would have any faith in our legal system ever again after actually looking at the evidence laid bare here.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because it's supposed to be equal treatment under the law in our great country, the greatest country ever. It doesn't seem to be the case. It seems to be an unequal application of the law, and it depends on what political persuasion you are. I mean, if you're one of the, the elite left, if your name is Comey, Strzok, Page, Clinton, Biden, you get treated one way. If you're Trump or a Republican, you get treated differently. And of course, to take this, even if it is a misdemeanor, which I'm not convinced it is either, but if it is, to elevate it in this campaign finance issue into a felony makes no sense. We've had legal experts talk about this is not a campaign finance issue whatsoever, but that's what they're trying to do. And of course, all the while, you've got rampant crime going on in Manhattan. Maybe Alvin Bragg's office. We did a hearing on this a year ago. We went up there and we had to remember the individual who was attacked in the bodega had to defend himself. We talked. A mom spoke about what happened to her family. I mean, and we highlighted this escalation in crime you see in New York. And what's Alvin Bragg doing? Going after President Trump on this ridiculous charge.
Yeah, it does seem like, Mr. Chairman, if you're going to be charging Trump for this and saying that this was campaign finance violations, then you've got to charge Joe Biden based on the open abuse and enrichment of his offices. And your committees have been revealing that throughout the Joe Biden impeachment inquiry. You can tie directly Chinese cash to Joe Biden's bank account. You can do the same thing with Ukraine and Hunter Biden, yet poof, nothing.
Yeah, and nothing seems to happen there. But also remember what they were going to do last summer. They were going to give a sweetheart deal to Hunter Biden. In fact, they've let the statute of limitations lapse for the most important years. The year he got the bulk of the income from Burisma, when he was getting paid $1 million a year. Oh, we're not going to even worry about that. And that sweetheart deal they put together, I think they would have got away with it, but for the court in Delaware, the judge there, and maybe most importantly, but for the two brave IRS whistleblowers who came forward and told us all the ways that this investigation didn't follow normal procedure. They were going to get away with it, but we had brave whistleblowers come forward and stop it. So yeah, that again, I think underscores just this double standard we see in our justice system today.
Donald Trump said on Truth Social he'd be happy to run for president from prison. You're very close with Donald Trump. He says he can be the Nelson Mandela of America. Your thoughts on that?
Let's hope there's not. Let's hope there's no conviction here. I think it's a ridiculous case. But I do know this: every time they come after him, his numbers seem to go up. Right now, I think he's tied or ahead in all 7 of the key swing states. Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, Arizona, which I think shows how bad the Biden administration is, and the country gets this, this attack by the left on President Trump, this weaponization of government against the people, particularly the guy who's the opposite party, at the head of the ticket, running for president of the United States. So I think the country's figured out, and it's one of the reasons that his numbers go up. He has a great line, Benny. I know you've been to many of his rallies, as have I. And one of the lines he uses is he says, "They're coming after me because I'm fighting for you." And I liked what he did out in your great state of Iowa, where he said he said out there during the caucuses, he goes, "They're coming after my freedom because I'm fighting for yours." And the country understands it, and that's why there's this intensity of support for him, because they see what's unfolding.
This is from this weekend in Pennsylvania, obviously a border state of Ohio. Do I have that right? That's correct. Yep. Yes. Yep. Okay. So obviously we were in Ohio. We were in Dayton with Donald Trump just a year ago, and saw a rally that looked similar. But there's thousands. I mean, this was a field. I think there's tens of thousands of people at this rally. What is your handicap for the 2024 election? I mean, the polls are obviously, we're 6 months out. They're going to pull something else. You got to know it. You just said, they were like, what's the next thing they're going to ratchet up? Based on your understanding and your communications with the president, what is the strategy going forward?
I think he just keeps taking the case to the American people. He talks about, what's happened in the 3 years and 80 days that approximately Joe Biden's been president. We went from a secure border to no border. We went from safe streets to record crime. We went from $2 gas to $4 and $5 gas. And we went from stable prices to record inflation. Maybe most importantly, with the terrible things the terrible attacks that have happened to our dearest and best friend Israel, we went from someone in the Oval Office and President Trump who projected strength to Joe Biden. So I think the country sees all that. And then you lay on top of that this weaponization of these agencies against we the people. And the country says, we want President Trump back in there, getting our economy the way it needs to be, helping us with the foreign policy like he did before, and stopping these agencies from coming after the very people they're supposed to serve. I think he's going to win. I feel strong about that because I think the American people have common sense and they see it as well.
So real quickly here, you're the only person that's been doing any work on Big Fani Willis out of Fulton County and how she has broken federal whistleblower rules. She has been misusing federal dollars. Now the DOJ is saying you were right and that there is probably a major issue here. There are a lot of strings attached when you get federal dollars. You can't just buy laptops and swag, as the whistleblower said. Can you get an update on Fani Willis?
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. The DOJ is now looking into it. I don't know what the status of that investigation is, but we just got notice of that a week ago. And of course, we had this whistleblower come talk to us who worked there in the office. And she's like, this young lady who Fani Willis had escorted out of the office after the whistleblower came to Fani Willis and said, hey, they're spending money with federal grant dollars on things I don't think they should be. And the next thing you know, she gets let go. And so she's talked to us about what's happening there. We're going to continue to dig into this again. Instead of focusing on running your office, putting bad guys away, doing the things you're supposed to do, spending federal dollars in the appropriate manner, Fani Willis has spent her time going after President Trump. And of course, not to forget, Nathan Wade came to D.C. on the taxpayer dime and met with, DOJ, January 6th committee, White House counsel, and everything else, it looks like, as all part of this effort to go get President Trump. Again, I think it's going to backfire because I think the country sees through it all.
FISA renewal, the vote today. We've had Congresswoman Paulina Luna on the program talking about this. You started off your comments by saying they spied on Donald Trump's campaign and they used FISA to do that. So what's going to happen today?
Well, they're going to bring up this tabling motion, the motion to reconsider. It's sort of a complicated parliamentary thing. It's going to lose. The thing that lost last week, which I was fighting so hard for, was we wanted the warrant requirement to search what I call the giant haystack of information. They're going to search an American, use your name, your phone number, your email. You should have to go get a warrant. And we lost that amendment. The way it works is if an amendment ties, it loses in Congress. You got to get a majority. We lost 212, which was just unbelievable. That, frankly, was in some ways unbelievable, Benny. We got that close because that thing used to get beat much worse than that when we've offered similar amendments in the past. So that was the unfortunate part. But the good news, I always try to look at the positive side, is more and more people understand that what's happened with this FBI, where they queried this database and didn't follow their own rules, there should be a warrant requirement, particularly when you look at the broad sense, where the FBI, said parents at school board meetings need to be investigated. Pro-life Catholics were extremists who retaliated against whistleblowers that came and told us important information. Unfortunately, we lost it. So we gotta see what comes out of the Senate. But I think this procedural vote today is going to lose, unfortunately.
That's too bad. It's terrible to hear. Why did Mike Johnson vote like that? It's crazy. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I don't know the guy, right? But it seems like such an obvious common sense thing that Republicans and Democrats and everybody should agree with. I mean, it's our Constitution. It's the Fourth Amendment.
Yeah, I know. I wish it would have passed. It doesn't.
Yeah. Well, thank you for at the very least. We always love it, Congressman, because you do have always an upbeat to yourself. You're very much a wrestler. Always looking forward. Always looking for the next challenge, and we really appreciate that spirit.
Well, you too. You have it too. So thank you. Thanks for all the good work you do. It's good to be with you.
Godspeed, Congressman.
Thank you.
ladies and gentlemen, is such a critical thing. It's such a critical threat to all of us. It's something that allows the government to hack your personal possessions, do it digitally. You think of a warrant, like a cop shows up and knocks on your door, right, with a giant warrant and kicks it in. No, man, they can just literally hack your phone. Like, just take whatever data and information you got on your phone, and they don't even have to ask permission. No, man, it's totally weird. It's insane that so many Republicans voted for this. That Republicans actually voted for this to allow the government to do this. It really makes you wonder. Why do we hate so many Republicans on this program? Betty, you're such a Republican. Nah, man. No, I'm America first. No. I hate Republicans more than I hate Democrats, to be quite honest. Many of them, okay? There's plenty of Republicans I like. But the reason why is that Democrats stab me in the face, Republicans stab me in the back. And that is exactly what happened on this FISA vote. It's enraging. Congresswoman Paulina Luna was on the program last week detailing it. Got to keep your phone secure. Got to make sure that you are using phones, obviously. Everybody has a cell phone, but use cell phone carriers that believe in free speech. Use cell phone carriers that at the very least don't hate you and hate your rights and hate your freedoms. That's why I use Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is the cell phone company that powers our program and powers our show. We will be traveling to the West Coast later this week. We have a number of very special projects on the West Coast later this week. We'll be bringing Patriot Mobile with us, keeping us connected even in the third world hellhole of California. Ladies and gentlemen, Patriot Mobile offers the most dependable nationwide coverage, giving you the ability to access all three major networks, which means that you get the same coverage that you've been accustomed to without funding the left. They are 100% for free speech, and they can make the switch easy today. Go to patriotmobile.com/Benny or 972-PATRIOT. Get free activation today when you use the offer code Benny. Join me and make the switch today. patriotmobile.com/Benny. All right, so we've got ourselves a very, very interesting ongoing trial in Manhattan. Now, we played you the one time, and to my knowledge, Donald Trump has not made any further comments. Yes? Donald Trump has not made any further comments. We do have the live shot of the courthouse here, ladies and gentlemen. You can see it for yourself. We will follow, obviously, any commentary that Donald Trump says. Now, he has been gagged by this judge, and so Donald Trump, what can he say? Well, he's saying what he can. And Donald Trump has come out and made about 60 seconds of comments from those doors right there in the Manhattan Criminal Court. And so we shall see. However, since Donald Trump is gagged talking about this abomination of justice, we thought probably be best to bring on the legal spokesperson for President Trump, who is not gagged and who has been a major firebrand in support of the president, somebody who's been a friend of the show, and somebody who is so outspoken on behalf of our rights and what is happening here in America today. Alina Habba, ladies and gentlemen. Alina, thank you for being on the program today. A dark day for justice in America. Yeah. We've detailed, of course, the absurdities of just bringing this case. You really are rattling around the bottom of the barrel when the Biden DOJ, the SEC, and the former Manhattan District Attorney said, this is a trash case, we're not bringing it.
Right. Yeah, it's called desperation. So they've been looking at this for so many years, and 7, I believe, actually. And they decided not to bring this case. And then the president decided to run for office again. And somehow an indictment came running on down. So, you know, I plan for the next 6 weeks to truly just be spitting the truth and giving people facts that they may not be hearing while he's in court. Obviously, you know, being a type A person, I wish I was a criminal attorney, but I'm not. But the great news is that then I can do this and let everybody know what's actually happening. So this is the ultimate sham of a case. The fact that a president is now being criminally tried, who's, you know, President Biden's leading competitor, is the state of our country. And it's a really sad day. It's a really sad day.
So there are so many different ways to go at this, but let's just start with the kind of overt visual abomination of this case, which is the judge's daughter has Donald Trump in prison as her avatar. In what universe does somebody who makes tens of millions of dollars donating to put Donald Trump in jail, plus has the avatar of Donald Trump in jail? I'm a father. I have little daughters. I would do anything for my little daughters. I just had a daughter that turned 2 this weekend, and so I'd do anything for them. In what universe does anybody expect a fair trial here when you can literally see that this is the fetish to put Trump in prison?
So, the truth is it's worse than that. So in New York, which is different than most states, there's actually a law against judges working on a trial where they or somebody in their 6 degrees of separation, and his daughter being an immediate, obviously, relation, has any interest financially. His daughter, and what we do know is his daughter does work with this company that does the branding, the advertising for people like Chuck Schumer. And when he profits through the advertising and those types of things. And it's really disturbing to me because if the case is lost, it actually financially disincentivizes the judge for his daughter. So you're not supposed to sit on a bench when you have any sort of motivation that's not completely unbiased. You should have no motivation other than to apply laws and facts and hold people accountable that need to be, and release people who have been wrongfully persecuted and prosecuted. And we do know that there's affiliations there with his daughter. We've filed motions to recuse. The team has filed motions to recuse. They have failed to recuse. He has failed to recuse himself. There's frankly not a judge that I've sat in front of who doesn't have a disdain for President Trump, who has recused. And it's a shame because the recusal process is flawed in itself. The judge himself decides whether he can or cannot sit for the trial and be impartial. Tell me one person, for instance, me, who wouldn't love to just go do a trial against Chuck Schumer. I would love to, but that doesn't mean that I should. Okay. And that's where this is. And unfortunately, this trial is proceeding today in front of this judge, Judge Merchan, who, by the way, also put Alan Weisselberg in jail not once, but twice, the CFO of the Trump Organization, who's also Steve Bannon's judge. We are seeing the most corruption in the state of New York, across the country, frankly, with these DAs and AGs, and then it permeates in the court system, which is supposed to be where you get to go in and put your case on. And I'm concerned. I really am. I know what New York juries are like. I know that you're in a blue state. They do that on purpose. That's why we're in Georgia. That's why we're in Washington. That's why we're in these states. And I don't know, Benny, I'm concerned, and I've always say this, but I've lost faith in our judicial system, to be honest.
Yeah, we sort of began the show by talking about show trials in Soviet Russia. USSA is what Jack Posobiec now calls our current country and state of our judicial system, and how the show trials, I mean, the common line of the show trial was, show me the man, I'll show you the crime. It didn't matter because the judges and the evidence and the jury pool was all rigged, and you could effectively put, of course, Joseph Stalin's political enemies in jail, and he did that in mass. But then also, as soon as the political enemies were all run out, you go to the common citizen. The factory owner, the person who looked at Stalin the wrong way, the person who Stalin's never met, but just like tries to you got to keep power is fear, right? So you have to keep people fearful. And then that creates the Red Scare, which is pretty famous for putting millions of Russians in gulags. And so it does seem like the first step down that path here.
100%. It goes much deeper than that too. Creating fear among Americans, creating fear of war, creating fear of going to church, religious entities, and to feel that you have no faith, that fear is completely taking over your life. This is part of the brainwashing that they do, and you're seeing it. It's much like cult mentality, And what we're seeing here is Russia type Banana Republic, Cuba stuff. This is not American. He always says things, and I know he says it, and it gets played 100 times, but he really is standing in the way for us. And this is a demise like I've never imagined. I mean, a president used to be, praised after whether you agreed with him or not. I remember Obama, not my party, But I never had this disdain towards these presidents the way people have this anger. And I think that the truth is they know that he'll clean up and he'll get to the bottom of the truth. And they're worried that come November, if he's not put in jail, if he's not put away and taken care of in some way, then they are going to have to be held accountable. And there will be a deep dive. And we're going to look at why did the January 6th committee delete evidence? We're going to look at things like that. And that frightens them because they've got a lot to hide.
Yeah, so this is what the rally in Pennsylvania looked like this past weekend. It's the biggest Trump rally we've seen in a very long time, and really just people as far as the eye can see. The camera angles can't cover it and show it. I mean, you're talking about a massive field in Pennsylvania with like MAGA just at Trump's back, and it does seem like the president's message is winning. It does seem like Donald Trump's support of base is growing. He's up in all 7 swing states, and he's leading in demographics that nobody, that Democrats have never lost to Republicans. And so, like young people, right, Latino support and so on. Yeah. And so it does beg the question, like, what won't they do to stop this man? If these cases don't work, do you think there's something worse waiting for us?
Listen, I've heard people say he has to be careful that he doesn't get killed. I mean, and I agree with that.
Is that a concern, like inside the Trump team?
I mean, look, I'm not going to breach his security or put him in jeopardy, but I think that we'd be naive not to think that that's a consideration. I get death threats. I mean, and I'm a spokeswoman, but I'm a loud one, and that upsets them. So, the reality of the situation is we're in a very troubling time as a country. And for them, and I think that's why, by the way, the growth, that's why you see these Pennsylvania rallies, people coming out on a Saturday night, and instead of going to dinner with their friends, they would rather go to a rally and feel confident that this country is not going to completely fall apart for their children and their grandchildren. The growth I've seen personally, people are always like, do people come up to you and I have never once had somebody come up to me. Never once in person. Now, there's of course trolls, but never once have I had somebody not come up to me and give me nothing but support. Thank me for fighting for the country with the president. Thank me for what I'm doing. The world is changing. Look at what happened in Georgia and that Chick-fil-A. That woman said it all. They want us to hate you, but we don't. We love you, President Trump. And that's the truth. And that's why they're going after him so hard. Look, they hit him financially, Benny. They hit him with the women. They're trying to get the female vote with the Bergdorf case. They hit him with he's a fraud in his business with the Attorney General Letitia James case. Look what happened there. Then we go into the appellate division and they say, whoa, $475 plus interest plus what? Nah. Here's what you're going to pay, and we're going to actually let you have some due process, which was such a great win for our team. And then we inch closer. Now they're trying to pull criminal stuff from 7. He wasn't even there. Let's just start with basics. He was in the White House, Benny, when this was booked in the accounting records by some accountant in the Trump organization. Okay? There's something called, he wasn't even in the state, let alone in control of his company. He wasn't in control of the company at the time. But here we are on a criminal trial where they elevate a misdemeanor to a felony. This is what we're dealing with.
Donald Trump has said on Truth Social he'd be happy to run for president from prison, and he thinks it'd make him Nelson Mandela. Yeah. And I wonder what your thoughts are on that.
He's told me that. Yeah, he's told me that. He said it's like Nelson Mandela. He's not wrong. The one time he said it to me actually was I was in court, and I remember him saying the same thing. And he says that, and he means it. I think he is the victim of political prosecution, and selective prosecution is what we call it legally. And that's when you target somebody because you don't like what they stand for, or you target them because they're your opponent in some regard or a threat to you. And that is what is happening. How can you say it's not? The fact that this particular case was not brought, Benny, and then he decides to run and they bring it. There's a book of a prosecutor who worked in a firm that works with the Clintons and the DNC. There is a book by that prosecutor who has left his law firm to go work for the DA just to bring this case. And when they wouldn't bring the case, when Cy Vance would not bring this case against President Trump, he quit in outrage, wrote a book, and said how angry he was because he wanted them to bring this case, but Michael Cohen was discredited. So then what happens? Bragg comes in, President Trump says, I'm running for office, and they bring the case. and they indict and rush a trial for this month before November. I've had cases sitting in New York for 3 years that have not had motions heard. 3 years.
Wow.
No motions heard. But these cases somehow get fast tracked. It's crazy.
What's your thought? What's your over under on the jury pool here? Because these juries are absolutely ratchet. And yeah, and I just don't have a lot of hope. And the reason why, so no legal expert here, but we've just been covering OJ's death. And there were all these jurors in OJ's death that have now come forward. They're very old, and they're saying, no, we knew he killed everyone.
But they
we
like
just
Al
didn't.
Sharpton or whoever it was.
Right, that's right.
interview.
I mean, they're now admitting it. We just made sure he wouldn't go to jail because racism or something. Right? Like, because we just didn't care. We wanted to protect him and destroy this person's life, right? Protect this person and destroy this person's life. And if you're going to go to trial in New York, I mean, what are the chances of that with Trump?
You know what happened to me. So, the truth is these jurors are human beings. They have biases. And what was troubling in this case is that while we're doing jury selection starting today, one of the things that the judge here, Judge Merchan, would not allow us to ask was whether or not they voted for a Republican or a Democrat, whether or not they voted for President Trump, whether or not they work for the Biden administration. There's people that when I was doing the jury selection in the Carroll case, were working currently for the Biden campaign. And I didn't want those people sitting on a jury for President Trump. And but you have the right to ask those questions. Now, this judge has eliminated many of those questions. You're not allowed to ask who they voted for. You can ask what news they watch. But I watch CNN and I watch Fox because I like to know what my opposition's saying. So it doesn't tell you what the status is. Now, when you're sitting with a president and a current nominee for the GOP, and you can't ask how you vote, you're shot in the foot right there. And you're in New York, which is a predominantly blue state. So, that hindrance in itself is problematic just from the get-go.
I just want to really I know we're short of time, but I really want to pin this down. You're telling me that the judge would allow somebody who's actively working for Joe Biden's presidential campaign to be on this jury pool?
Well, that happened to me. I mean, of course. Of course. I had arguments with the judge about it and saying, I wanted this person out, and I got them off the jury pool, but it was tough. The judge said, well, if you, I will never forget it. If you'd have it your way, you'd have all Republicans. I said, well, I'm his lawyer, of course. I mean, that's my job as a lawyer is to make sure that I get the absolute best jury pool I'm going to get. And by the way, don't think that the DA team isn't going to do the exact same thing. They're going to try and get the best jury pool they can. And in New York, for them, it's going to be much easier.
Yes. Final question for you. Donald Trump goes ahead and wins in 2024, right? Too big to rig. Donald Trump wins. He would obviously lean pretty heavily upon you for legal advice and restructuring advice and so forth. What would you advise Donald Trump, given everything that he's gone through legally? You, of course, have been, in the arena, so to speak, in all of these battles. What would you advise to ensure that this never happens again?
I'm not a vindictive person. I'm a person of faith. So for me, I believe that I think that we have to figure out a system where these elected officials are not using their positions to get reelected. And there needs to be, I think, stronger repercussions for those that are found to do so. I think there needs to be a real deep dive into these DAs and prosecutions and all the people. I would stop the special prosecutors from coming over from some of these law firms, coming over from Democrat-based law firms to investigate and target people and then go back. And I'm saying that for both sides of the coin. I think it's un-American. I think we need to do things the right way. And until one side does it, we're never going to do it. And one has to back down. And that might be the Republican Party. But I can tell you that doesn't mean we're weak. That means we're strong. We have to instill the Constitution. That's it. It has to be about the Constitution, not who you are, not who you vote for, the Constitution and you being an American citizen. And if you are an American citizen, if you're here legally, if you're here the right way, and you're here with a visa and you do all the things you're supposed to do, then you are afforded those principal rights. Okay. That's what makes us not Cuba. So I would tell him, number one, I would fire the top of the DOJ. I would clean house up there. That would be the first thing I would do. I would stop all the unnecessary search, the FISA looking at that, for instance. I think that's a disgrace. I think that we have to look at why we're looking at people. You have a right to privacy. That's important to me. There's so many things, Benny, I don't even know where to start. But I would tell you that you have to clean house. We have to clean house. And we have to hold people accountable, because the next administration needs to hold us accountable. And it needs to go on and on and on. That's how we have in America. It really is.
It's pretty remarkable. You just mentioned the DOJ, and lo and behold, on Friday news dump, the DOJ says, oh yeah, Fani Willis has potentially committed horrible crimes by misuse of federal dollars. How bad is it when Joe Biden's DOJ says this about Fani Willis?
Well, be careful with that, right? Because I'm always thinking, why are they doing it? And are they doing it for show? So they could say we're investigating Hunter Biden, but Hunter Biden's still walking free. Meanwhile, Trump's in a criminal case right now. So sometimes they do it to appear to be impartial when they're not. It's all an appearance. It's advertising season for the Biden DOJ right now. So they've got to start to rein in Chris Wray. They've got to start to make themselves look like they are impartial. But don't be fooled by it. The truth of the matter is, I don't care about your investigations. I don't care about you calling people to Congress. I want to see people get held accountable. And until we see that, it's just noise to me, to be honest. It's just noise. And I think that's the problem. People are getting frustrated. People are saying, when is there going to be action? All these shows, all the televised BS. Let's see people be held accountable. Why has Hunter Biden not been put on trial?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've asked that question in Trump's inner circle, and the response we got back is Trump's too good of a person. It's amazing. I actually asked this question at dinner, and I'm not going to name with who, but the response was, why didn't you put Hillary Clinton in jail? I mean, she really is a criminal. I mean, truly like a criminal. And there was no effort. There was no effort to go after. Yeah, that's right. There was no effort to go after Hillary Clinton. And the response I got was because Donald Trump thought it'd be bad for the country. And he thought it'd
not wrong. He's not wrong. Yeah. Look at what's happening right now. Do you think this is for the country? What's happening right now? It's no good. It's divisive. It's hurting everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
Alina, Godspeed. Everybody needs to follow Alina Habba and ensure that her voice can be as strong and as loud as possible, especially right now. 202,000 people can't be wrong. Head on over and follow Alina, ladies and gentlemen. Godspeed out there.
Thanks,
You're fighting the good fight.
Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, what a day. What an interesting moment. Obviously in our country and obviously for this nation, we do have no further appearances by Donald Trump. Yes or no? No? Okay. No further appearances by Donald Trump. We're doing our best, obviously. I mean, we'll show you, of course, the live feed of the court right now. We're doing our best to ensure that we get as much information as possible. Unlike Fani Willis, which was wall to wall. I tell this to the team regularly. Man, I will miss these Fani Willis. I will miss it because we had like 3 cameras in the courtroom, and we could see and we could see the insanity. We could watch it all play out. This is our only camera shot for this one right now. And to my knowledge, I'm not certain if that's going to change. To my knowledge, I don't think that this is going to change. Unfortunately, this is our camera feed that we've gotten. So Donald Trump's going to have to approach the cameras in between court sessions, right? You can see sort of the shaky camera right there. So it's the best that we have, right? And the best that we have, we have a courtroom sketch. Courtroom sketch just dropped. All right. So again, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we have. There's a rather iconic Donald Trump in this courtroom sketch. Kind of looks like Trump's mugshot. To be frank with you, look at this face. Look at Donald Trump's face. That's the judge, Merchan, complete scumbag. Should never be on the bench. Should certainly not be overseeing this trial, but we do not have justice. This is Donald Trump. This is the Donald Trump mugshot look, actually. There's Trump, the iconic red tie, and we've played you Donald Trump's commentary in and out of the courtroom. This is all that we have, sadly. If my team could get you something else, we would. The best that we can do is book Jim Jordan, Alina Habba, and ensure that we take this news live with speed and with verve. Again, there has been one time today that Donald Trump spoke to reporters. Let's replay that. It was 60 seconds of Donald Trump, the only time that he's talked to the cameras today, saying the system's rigged and that he is standing up for our rights, and that's why they were going after him.
Walking into the courtroom.
Is that common,
here.
Andy?
Yeah.
And here's President Trump as he walks in. Let's just see if we get a comment.
Mr. Trump, you were about jail time. Are you ready to lose voters if there's conviction?
This is an assault on America. Nothing like this has ever happened before. There's never been anything like it. Every legal scholar said this case is nonsense. It should never have been brought. It doesn't deserve anything like this. There is no case, and they've said it. People that don't necessarily follow or like Donald Trump said this is an outrage that this case was brought. This is political persecution. This is a persecution like never before. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And again, it's a case that should have never been brought. It's an assault on America. And that's why I'm very proud to be here. This is an assault on our country. And it's a country that's failing. It's a country that's run by an incompetent man who's very much involved in this case. This is really an attack on a political opponent. That's all it is. So I'm very honored to be here. Thank you very much.
Do the voters believe that? This is going to go to the White House.
Donald Trump just walked out of the courtroom again. We don't want to seem like crazy stalkers here. Trust me, Trump team likes us. They come on our program and talk to us. But here's Donald Trump walking out of the courtroom seconds ago and did something very interesting. You're going to love this. This is Donald Trump walking out. Here we go. And he did a hand motion on his way out of the court. Okay, let's get big here. Here we go. So Donald Trump rolling through, hold on. I mean, this was just live like 10 seconds ago. Trump rolling through, Trump security, there's Trump. And he does a big thumbs up. Sorry, this is a gallows humor, but I love the man. You just love the man. Donald Trump does the big thumbs up. Can we get that one more time? Can we get the freeze frame of that? Let's go. Give me that freeze frame. There it is. There it is. That's why you tune in. We catch these little, look at this, like a butterfly. Ah, there you go, like a hummingbird. Trump doing the thumbs up. You can see it right there. Plain as day. Plain as day. There it is. Got it. Got it. That's why we watch, ladies and gentlemen. That's why we're watching. So Donald Trump sending that message, obviously in and out with his team. Donald Trump says he's going to be here for this every day of the trial. Plus, he's going to testify. So we'll see. We'll see, ladies and gentlemen. Donald Trump, again, the courtroom sketch, looking very much like the mugshot over my shoulder here. Donald Trump with the courtroom sketch sort of glare and frown, and has every reason, right, to frown and to kind of legendary courtroom sketch there. It's pretty awesome. Like Trump's presidential portrait. Donald Trump's presidential portrait when he glares, right? Pretty amazing. We need strength, ladies and gentlemen. We need strength back in this country. I'm grumpy, not by nature, but when I think about, we just had a birthday from, I mentioned it now a million times. Nobody likes it when you talk too much about yourself, but it is wonderful to see little children. Their birthday is like really special. I am of a personal belief that nobody should celebrate their birthday after like 21. That like you shouldn't do that. But when you're a little kid, you should do that. And life is precious, and life is a miracle. I remember the day that Juliet was born and holding her in my arms, you just weep uncontrollably. I don't weep. I don't cry at anything. I cry at nothing. I mean, literally nothing. I'll laugh very easily, but I just don't cry. I'm not a crier. But I cry when my children are born. That's the one time that you can consistently say you're going to cry. The reason I'm telling you this is because that life, in that moment, when you hold that newborn, when you hold that child, at least for a father, I don't know exactly what it's like for a mother, but for a father, it's like heaven opens up. And you're able to hold an angel. It's something spiritual, something like deeply miraculous. You weep uncontrollably. And they talk about this in the Bible a lot, right? And these people have these spiritual experiences and they can't control themselves. And that's what it's like for me when I have my children. It's why life is precious. We partner with Preborn, which is an incredible organization on this program that helps mothers get free ultrasounds so that they can sort of see the miracle that is happening to them. These are obviously mothers that are potentially, considering abortion, and we view this as such a moral evil. And I just don't care what it is from a political perspective. It is a moral evil. It is a evil sin. It has been a sin since Roe v. Wade was inextricably put into our Constitution or into as one of our rights, even though life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is right there at the top of the Constitution. So generations should have been fighting this back in the 70s, but here we are, right? Here we are. Too many generations stayed silent, and now abortion is sort of a part of life, and it's evil. And so Preborn is something that helps save babies, provides free ultrasounds for mothers. We're proud to partner with them. It's something we believe in personally. To help save another baby, dial pound 250, say the word baby, pound 250, say the word baby to donate securely to preborn.com/Benny, preborn.com/Benny. Speaking of loss of life, there were 350 missiles. Ooh, man. Yikes, guys. Elections have consequences, right? Remember when at the end of Donald Trump's term, like every Middle Eastern country was signing peace agreements in the Middle East? Well, now Iran fired hundreds of missiles in a declaration of war against Israel. Thankfully, many of these missiles were shot down out of the sky. ALX, let me know if what the scale of the actual destruction was. I looked as far as I could see on Sunday morning. We reported on the missiles being fired. That in and of itself is an act of war. But as far as I could see on Sunday morning, there was not, because of Israel's sophisticated Sling of David and Iron Dome, the vast majority of these missiles were felled and were easy to track. Unfortunately, we don't have a president that projects strength. We have a president that can barely speak the English language. And when asked about the attack and the potential of an attack by Iran, Joe Biden wasn't even able to muster a sentence. He was just able to spit out a word. Here's that word.
Mr. President, to Iran in this moment.
Don't.
Are American personnel and assets at risk, Mr. President? Mr. President, are American troops at risk as well?
We are devoted to the defense of Israel. We will support Israel. We will help defend Israel, and Iran will not succeed. Thank you very much.
What would trigger a direct U.S. response, sir?
So 99% of missiles were intercepted, thank God, even though, and this is remarkable footage, here with the dome on the rock. This is one of the most famous mosques on earth as the missiles are intercepted over Israel. We hate war. We hate the people who fund wars and who create these wars. It is always terrible for regular people. The vast majority of people on earth, I would say 99% of people on earth, don't want war. We simply want peace. This kind of stuff is created because of lying jackasses like Joe Biden who project weakness and who give Iran billions of dollars to do this kind of horse crap. Here's Joe Biden saying that Donald Trump would cause World War III by starting war with Iran. Here we go.
The world has changed because what Trump has done. And the American people, including independents and some Republicans, know how bad he is, know how much he's misrepresented, know how he's getting close to getting us in a war. I said, as the walls close in on this man, I'm worried he's going to get us to war in Iran. Unfortunately, I may have been right. The fact of the matter is there's a lot at stake in this election.
So, very interesting. He may get us into war with Iran. And now, under Joe Biden, this is what one of the holiest sites on earth looks like, ladies and gentlemen. Again, this is the most famous spot in one of the most famous spots in all of the religious world, right? What is the name of the actual mosque? What's the name of the mosque itself? There's actually one of the that has to be one of the missiles that actually did hit. Again, 99% intercepted, but this is what Joe Biden brings. Weak men create hard times. And we are at that part of the cycle here. Okay? So here you go. Donald Trump campaigning, Joe Biden campaigning, saying Donald Trump would start war with Iran, and this is what Israel looks like under Joe Biden. There you go. Pretty remarkable, by the way, because the two presidents were speaking at the exact same time. Joe Biden was on vacation, by the way, while Iran was being bombed. And also, pretty shocking stuff. Apparently, Joe Biden knew that this was going to happen and allowed the attack to move forward. ALX, grab me that, please. This from Libs of TikTok this morning has been posting about this. Apparently, and this could really be a very damaging thing for Joe Biden. Apparently, Joe Biden was tipped off that Iran was going to attack and allowed it to happen. Kind of like with Russia and Ukraine. You remember when Joe Biden said, it doesn't matter if it's a small incursion in Ukraine. They want war, these bastards. They want war. They're demonic. They want war. So this is breaking and should be the number one news of the day, which is that Joe Biden approved of the attack on Israel. Why? Because he's got to win Michigan. And there are people in Dearborn that want Israel to be attacked. Got it? Yeah. What won't Joe Biden do? What does it look like to have a president that creates peace? A commentary like this. This is Donald Trump talking about Iran on Rush Limbaugh's program.
Iran knows that, and they've been put on notice. If you fuck around with us, if you do something bad to us, we are going to do things to you that have never been done before.
If you F around with us, Donald Trump says. You gotta love it. Look at this vintage tweet. It aged like a delicious French Bordeaux. To Iranian President Rouhani. Never ever threaten. Let's try and do it like Trump. Okay, well, we're going to do it like Trump. I'm not a big impersonations guy, okay, but I'm going to try it. We're going to try. Never ever threaten the United States again, or you will suffer consequences, the likes of which few throughout history have ever suffered before. We are no longer a country that will stand for your demented words of violence and death. Be very cautious. Tehran might look nice with a giant Trump Tower in the middle of it after we conquer Iran. I don't want to have to do this to Tehran, but we will do it nonetheless. Maybe I'll even grow a beard and go live there. I'm Donald Trump. Yes. We say it out of love. We say it out of love. I want tweets like that. More mean tweets. More mean tweets. So this is the reporting, ladies and gentlemen, from the Jerusalem Post. And this is breaking at time of show. But Iran informed Turkey, because they had to fire these missiles over all these countries, right? So Iran informed their allies, we're going to be firing a bunch of missiles over your country. Maybe one of them's going to fall on your country. Sorry about it. Of the planned operation, Turkish diplomatic sources told Reuters on Sunday, adding that the U.S. conveyed to Iran that the operation must be within certain limits. Oh, okay. So Joe Biden approved of the attack on Israel. He gave it the thumbs up, just like we drew it up, right? Just like we drew it up. Joe Biden meme. Great. Really. Great job. A vote for Joe Biden is suicidal. It's suicidal, right? For civilization, for culture. You don't have to vote Republican. Just don't vote for Joe Biden. Okay. You don't have to vote Republican. Don't vote for Joe Biden. Here's what Donald Trump was saying at his rally. I believe this is from his rally on Saturday in Pennsylvania, the day of the attack.
3 weeks ago, what's going on with the world? What's going on? Everybody's fighting. Russia, Ukraine, Israel, the Middle East is blowing up. Everything's blowing up. China's going to be next with Taiwan because of weakness. China's going to be next. What's going on? He said, bring Donald Trump back as president and it'll all stop. It'll all stop.
It'll all stop. There's this like famous line that Donald Trump said to black voters in 2016. I think it was at a rally, and it's great. He goes, "What do you have to lose? What are you gonna lose? These people have been such bastards to you. They've destroyed your communities, destroyed your lives. Like, what do you got to lose? Vote Trump." Now, lo and behold, Donald Trump's winning 25% of the black vote. Got it. Well, I think people are finally listening. Nobody wants to go to war. This show is it's really easy to be consistent here. We are pro-life and we are anti-war. That would be anti-slaughter of all of these people, right? Like of everyone. We're like against that. And I think that's a real, it's an intellectually consistent take. War only enriches the most evil people on earth. Many people milk both sides of a conflict. There's a meme that's going viral. I think we posted it. There's a meme that's going viral. It's like missiles flying at each other. My tax dollars, also somehow my tax dollars, right? Like this. This is how all wars are, and it has been for a very, very long time, right? It's the same it's the same with every war. There's this like 1% or less of people that really benefit from these wars, and they want to destroy civilization because they get rich by doing it. It's perverse. It's totally evil. It's sick and it's wrong. And Royce, Danny just set the photo in the chat. You were so close, buddy. So close. Poor Royce, go hunting for the photo. Danny, on the spot. My tax dollars, also my tax dollars. Yep, this is what you should think about when you think about war. This is how you should see it. Okay, so we're against this. We're against this. Final little thing. Give me that data about the richest county in America. I'll show you how true this meme is. Richest county in America. Why is it the county where the Pentagon is? I'll give you one guess. Why is it that Fairfax County and Northern Virginia, the border counties of the swamp in D.C., with all of the defense contracting, why is that the richest county in America? What's going on there? That's a little strange. Wow. Nobody really wants to live in D.C. It's a wretched place to live. There's nothing really particularly beautiful about it. It is a literal swamp by geographic area. Like, why would this be there? I can see why people want to live in Beverly Hills or Malibu. I can see why people want to live in Florida, right? It's some great reasons to live in Florida. I didn't take my kids to the beach. I take my kids to the beach all the time. But why the hell would you want to live in Northern Virginia? Like, no offense, but like, right, I'm not trying to, like, if you're watching from there, I'm not trying to be mean to you. I'm just saying, like, why is this the richest county? Loudoun County, Falls Church, the 20 richest counties in the U.S. Well, what do you know? Look at that. It's worse than I thought. The top 5 counties, the top 5 richest counties in America are right surrounding Washington, D.C. Isn't that remarkable? Isn't that truly, truly amazing? And there's another one in the top 10, Fairfax County, Virginia. So there you go. Look at that. Montgomery, Maryland, that's also a D.C. suburb. So in the top 15, you have 7. So 7 of the top richest counties in America are right around Washington, D.C. That's what I'm talking about. That's why I hate war. How many of these people are defense contractors? How many of these people are connected to the American war machine? You wonder why they pass those $200 billion Ukraine aid packages is to pay off those scum, these rat bastards. Rat bastards. They'll lie. They'll create hoaxes. Who knows? Who knows what's next? Here's what we do know today. The FBI launched a criminal probe into the Baltimore Bridge collapse as agents look at whether the 22-man crew knew that the dolly had problems with it when it left the port. So, again, a foreign foreign-owned and operated cargo ship smashes directly, steered directly into the center of the bridge in Baltimore. I don't know if we have the clip or not. It doesn't say we have the clip in our program, but steers directly into the bridge in Baltimore, destroys the bridge. I don't know exactly how many lives were lost, but I know there were lives lost. And it's going to be billions of dollars worth of damage, without question. And we have to pay for it. Isn't that amazing? So this ship, the owners of the ship don't pay for it? Like, in what universe is the American taxpayer? Did Joe Biden came out the day afterwards saying the American taxpayers were going to pay for this, the rebuilding of this bridge? In what universe is this our fault? It's a foreign ship that apparently went through some type of horrible power loss, but then instead of the ship just sort of like floating through the harbor or just stopping, it drives directly into the bridge. What the hell is that about? I'm not doubting that there weren't like horrible mechanical difficulties in the boat, but why did it steer straight towards the bridge? Can somebody figure that out for us, please? Well, the FBI is on the case. Forgive me, ladies and gentlemen, but I don't actually believe the FBI is on this case. That is a good thing. I believe, quite frankly, based on all the evidence that I've seen, that it is a very, very bad thing. And that perhaps there is a cover-up at hand here. I don't know. But I'm just simply trying, to say, this is very strange. And the FBI comes in on these kind of things and then like locks down all the information because of an ongoing investigation. We never know the truth. So this is what the FBI is looking into. FBI launched a criminal probe into the Baltimore Bridge collapse. 6 construction workers dead. There's the answer to that. The probe will be overseen by the U.S. District Office in Maryland to focus on whether the 22-man crew of this boat left the port knowing that the vessel had serious systemic issues, according to the Washington Post. The Baltimore mayor, Brandon Scott, has announced that the city has hired outside firms to hold responsible the entities accountable for the Key Bridge tragedy. Unthinkable to think that it's taken Marylanders from their loved ones and risked the livelihoods of Baltimore and Port of Baltimore. Good. I mean, like, the people who run this ship, the people who own this ship, is this ship, what nation actually owns this ship? Was it, I thought it was maybe Indian? Not exactly certain. But ladies and gentlemen, this ship crashed into this bridge. Like, that's the company that you should go. That's the company that should pay for this, right? Obviously, not the American taxpayers, not the people of Maryland. And hopefully they'll find out exactly why the hell this happened. And why did the ship steer directly towards the bridge? Yeah. So many things to find out these days. National Guard whistleblowers are saying that they were ready to be deployed on January 6th on Trump's orders, but were held back by the Pentagon in bombshell testimony contradicting Capitol Riot Committee's story. This is a huge story. I just wanted to touch on it because this is just massive. Whistleblowers from the D.C. National Guard will tell Congress that Donald Trump did want them to deploy during the Capitol riot. The Army delayed telling them to mobilize. The hearing will aim to further prove that Acting Defense Secretary at the time, Christopher Miller, did give advanced approval of D.C. National Guard deployment at the direction of President Trump. Kash Patel has been on our program. If this is ringing in your ear, Kash Patel's been on our program saying this the entire time. Person familiar with the review of the House Administration's Committee on Oversight Subcommittee, whistleblowers will provide testimony. Then Army Secretary Ryan McCarthy delayed by at least 2 hours, providing the official notice to the D.C. National Guard commander, William Walker, to deploy troops to the Capitol. Instead, getting to the bottom of the breakdown of communication and focusing on improving military preparedness for future incidents, the witnesses feel that January 6th panel was solely focused on pinning all the blame on Trump. So here's a crazy thing. What's the definition of insurrection? What is the definition of insurrection? Pop it up on screen. The definition of insurrection is when a armed militia, call it whatever you will, like a group of armed people try and take power from the government. Okay? That is the dictionary definition of insurrection. Okay? They say Donald Trump's an insurrectionist. They say January 6th was an insurrection. So 2 quick points here. By definition, how can you insurrect against yourself? Donald Trump was the president. He was the highest commanding officer in the country, the commander-in-chief. How can you insurrect against yourself? That don't make no sense. Donald Trump was in power. Donald Trump was the president. But also, more importantly, an act or instance revolting against a civil authority or an established government. Okay, so then if Donald Trump, who is in control, if he gave an order to the National Guard to stand down and to not do anything during January 6th, well then maybe there'd be some room to criticize or something there. I don't know, whatever, right? That's a totally different story. That's not what happened. There's no point in playing with the, metaphorical, potential here of Donald Trump doing this. It didn't do it. Donald Trump did order the National Guard to go to the Capitol on January 6th. Therefore, by definition, the National Guard was there to uphold the structures of government. An actual literal antithetical to the definition of insurrection. So there you go, jackasses. Just me reading Merriam-Webster's dictionary for you. So if Donald Trump sent in the National Guard, that means that all of these cases against him are bupkis. We very much look forward to these hearings in Washington, D.C. It is what we have been covering with Kash Patel on this program day in and day out, and we've been right, and we are right, ladies and gentlemen, and you should protect your rights. Don't let these people lie and strip them away from you. One of our most important rights in this country, the right to self-defense. This is our Monday Gun Day. Tongue twister that. Monday Gun Day, brought to you by Spikes Tactical. The Tennessee legislature sends bill requiring school gun safety courses to governor. Wow. That would be amazing. I would be totally in favor of firearms training for teachers. I'm in favor of firearms training for police officers. Police officers protect, like, there's a bank robbery, right? Somebody's robbing a bank, trying to get a bag of money. Police officers are able to use their firearms in order to protect that bank. And what is more valuable? Fiat currency sitting in a bank or our children? Our children are more valuable. Every school should have resource officers who are there, who are armed. And every person that wishes to come incorrectly into a school and do some type of horrible thing should know that they are going to be met with deadly force. The Tennessee Senate on Thursday passed legislation that will go to Governor Bill Lee's desk to require gun safety courses to be taught in schools. Fox News reported that the legislation, HB 2882, passed by a 24-3 vote on Thursday, and now it is heading to the governor's desk. Tennessee noted that the bill would require schools to provide instructions on safe storage of firearm, safety relating to firearms, how to avoid injury if a student finds a firearm, never to touch a found firearm, obviously, to immediately notify the adult of location, courses that would be designed for age-appropriate and grade-appropriate and will be taught in the 2025 to 2026 school year. Also, obviously, this bill should keep Hunter Biden away from all schools because Hunter Biden left his firearm in a dumpster next to a school. Something very important about this gun charge against Hunter Biden that we never ever talk about, which is that Hunter Biden took a illegally obtained firearm that he lied on his federal NICS form, threw it into a dumpster next to a school. What a bastard. What a monster. Ladies and gentlemen, we are absolutely proud to defend our rights on this program. We defend them by practicing them. We're particularly bothered by the fact that Donald Trump has had his freedom of speech stripped away from him here. And so it is why it is incumbent upon us to speak as freely as possible and to give a platform for people to speak about the president and talk for him. If you wish to support us in this fight, then please, ladies and gentlemen, practice your rights, freedom of speech, the Second Amendment, freedom against government encroachments and warrants passed by these cowards. Mike Johnson is such a coward. So disappointed in Mike Johnson. I don't have the time on the program to go into it, but we've been working with various members of Congress on what this FISA reauthorization actually means. It's despicable what Republicans did to us. Despicable. Ladies and gentlemen, if you wish to join us in this fight, go join the Benny Brigade today, bennyjohnson.com/brigade. You'll be able to ask questions of our guests. You'll be able to get a keychain sent directly to you with our Benny Brigade logo on it. Access to sweet swag like the Benny Brigade official Salty Army tumbler. And ladies and gentlemen, just some good old camaraderie with your fellow patriots. You'll be able to keep our show independent so that we can continue to speak freely. One small programming note for us, is that we will be heading to California, San Francisco specifically, tomorrow through Friday. Now, we have the capacity to do the show, and we like based on breaking news, we'll be able to do commentary and we'll be able to go live. But we have a massive slate of really, really important interviews. We're going to cover the collapse that the left has brought to these beautiful and historic American cities, and we're going to sort of show what lies ahead for the rest of America. The rest of America will become Oakland, effectively, right? If we allow these policies to continue. And it's really important to see this stuff with our own cameras and to like tell these stories. And by joining the Benny Brigade, and you support our work in doing this kind of stuff. It's actually really expensive and really hard to like go and bring a team across the country and to do documentary content like this. And we deeply appreciate your support, and we're very, very thankful for it. So that's what we're going to be doing. I don't want to have to go out there. I hate going out there. But it really is like a backdrop for what will happen to the rest of us, and what will happen to your city, to my city, if we allow these monsters to take over. And so that's where we're going to be. Big breaking news: we are going to be going live, and we are going to be doing content. But expect the schedule for the show to sort of be on hold throughout the rest of the week. So just a programming note there. Our verse of the day, John 14:27. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. Not as the world gives, do I give to you. Let not your hearts be troubled, neither let them be afraid. Let not your hearts be troubled or afraid right now. Alina Habba expressing some major concern, obviously, about this Trump case in New York. But our God is faithful, and he is faithful especially in times like this. He is faithful in times that frankly, are trying. And this is what we have as a guarantee. Our guarantee is this, that God is with us. And if God is with us and is giving us peace, then no one can be against us. Let not your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. It's your boy, Benny. We're marching along with you to victory. See ya.